Surface Pro 8. My name is Kimberly Klein. I'm the sales director for North America for LBI America. We have a couple pictures on this slide. The one on the left has the Surface Pro 8 tab with the distance camera focused out, where you can focus across a room, whether it's a classroom setting, work environment, or wherever you might be. The one on the right actually has the distance camera focused on a document. So with the distance camera, you can do document, self, and distance viewing. I'd like to introduce you to the LBI America team. First of all, we have Christopher Caswell. He's our international sales manager, and he resides in Sweden. Sweden is actually where our headquarters is at. We are a subsidiary of LVI, and they're located in Sweden, have been hand building, designing, developing, and manufacturing low vision products for going on 43 years. Some of the things that make our products stand out is we have incredible cameras. All of our products are extremely lightweight, and also they're very durable. We have a software platform that once you learn it on one of our products, you can start to carry that information over to the others, such as we have Tab Viewer, Chrome Viewer, Mac Viewer, and PC Viewer. And once you learn one of them, you really have learned a lot about all the other ones. So it makes it very quick and easy for you to learn. The second picture over is myself. I'm Kimberly Klein, sales director. And the third picture, going from left to right, is Catherine Gettle, and she's our marketing manager. The fourth picture over is of Elisa Olenek, and she's our business development manager. Elisa started with us in January of this year, and we're thrilled to have her as part of our team. Okay, the next slide focuses on the Surface Pro 7 Plus, because that's what we ship with, versus the Surface Pro 8. So we have a couple pictures of both of the units. The first one is the Surface Pro 7, and the second one is the Surface Pro 8. The first thing you'll notice is they look very similar. In fact, in a minute, I'm going to let you see them side by side, and you'll see that they look very, very similar. There are some differences. Both of these pictures are not the tab in our stand, but they actually have the built-in kickstand where they're standing up. But you still get a really good view and can tell that they're very thin in design and a nice crisp image, and they are very, very similar. Let's talk about some of the differences. The Surface Pro 7 Plus height in inches is 7.9 inches, and the Surface Pro 8 is 8.2 inches. Width in inches, the Surface Pro 7 Plus is 11.5, and the Surface Pro 8 is 11.3. Depth, again in inches, is 0.33 for the 7 Plus and 0.37 for the Surface Pro 8. And then the screen in inches is a 12.3 inch screen on the Surface Pro 7 Plus and a 13 inch for the Surface Pro 8. We'll talk about how all of that comes to play, because it isn't that they added almost an inch to the size of it. They actually have a much narrower bezel, which allows it to go edge to edge, which makes it a larger screen size. Both the Surface Pro 7 Plus and the 8, when we ship them with Windows 10. And we do that for a reason. Certain schools and different state agencies also have not switched to Windows 11. So we have found if we ship with Windows 10 and someone wants to go to Windows 11, that's very simple for them to upgrade it. We do have been fully tested in Windows 11. We support Windows 11 across the board with all of our products, but we are shipping the Tab and the Tab 2 with Windows 10 for that reason. With both units, the 7 Plus and the 8, you can get an i5 or an i7. But let's talk about the ports, because there's some differences here. The Surface Pro 7 ports have one USB-A and one USB-C. And on the Surface Pro 8, it has two USB-Cs, and they are Thunderbolt 4 connections. The Surface Pro 7 Plus, the rear camera is an 8 megapixel camera, and with the Surface Pro 8, it's a 10 megapixel camera. So out of that whole chart, I think the things that are going to stand out to you is, of course, the 13-inch screen. So it is a little larger viewing area. Not a lot, but a little bit larger. The connection is different, the USB-C, and then the rear-facing camera is 10 megapixel versus 8 megapixel. So both still good cameras, and you're going to get a great image with either one. We do want to talk about, this isn't just our tab product, but since we're featuring that today, to be able to maximize the use of, we say tab distance camera, but any of our distance cameras. They are amazing. They're 10x optical zoom, 1080p, full HD. And so you could use this as a primary camera in your Zoom meetings and webinars. You also could use it as a demonstration camera for remote sessions. So if you're trying to show off our products, we have resellers that utilize our MLS camera, MagniLink S, we'll talk more about that later, and actually have the ability to move that to show a display and actually move the camera to go down the display. They can make it larger, smaller, zoom in, zoom out, and they're great cameras. You also can use the distance camera for if you're disconnecting with friends, and whether you're using Teams or whether you're using Zoom, or there's many different types of platforms, you can use it for work, for school, for home, for fun, and also for, again, demonstration type sessions. So our suggestion to you is don't let it sit idle. We do have pictured on the screen the MagniLink TAB, and Catherine circled the camera because that's what we're focusing on, that distance camera. And then we have the Zoom icon on the screen as well. I did want to take a minute and talk about the latest version of Tab Viewer, which is our software that we use on the tab. It provides extra productivity power. Our engineers have made the Tab Viewer more accessible, which means narrator now speaks with all the icons. And when I say narrator, narrator works, NVDA works, Supernova works, JAWS works, Fusion, all of those are going to work. I just pick narrator because it's built into the Windows system and we can turn it on, and I'll be showing that to you more later. I did want to let you know that our latest version of the Tab Viewer software is 2.1.7.0. And we do have automatic updates. So if you have your tab on during when the updates are pushing out, we push out updates. We push them out on our server, even if we don't have a change, we still push them out several times a week. So if people didn't happen to get the update previously, that they would get it at that time. But if for some reason yours isn't updating for you, or you need any assistance with that, please contact me and I can provide you additional information of how to make sure you're running the latest version. We also have a really neat feature. It's autosave for settings and menus. The cool thing about that is if you go into the menus and you pinch and zoom and make it a certain size that you want for being able to see the menu system better, it remembers that. And then if you shut down our software and restart it, it's going to be that size, that color, everything that you set up. So you don't have to go in and save it. It just remembers what you, however you leave the software is how it remembers it. And, but don't be concerned with that, because you can very easily go back and switch everything to the default. And I'll show you some about that as well. We've also added a freeze feature. So if you want to, it's not taking a picture, but it's just freezing the image. And then you could make it larger, smaller, or whatever, but you can move the image and it's frozen on the screen. So you don't have to have it underneath there anymore. We've also increased the reading speed to 250. We had some people that wanted it made faster. And so we've went ahead and increased that. You know, our software is great and we develop incredible platforms, but it's people, our end users of the products, that help even make it better. Because when they send an email into us and we've got 15 or 20 people that say, hey, I would really like to have this feature, that's something that we can look at updating when we review our software, which we do. Update it and we look at it every year. And so if you have an idea, I'll give you an email to write to in just a little bit. One of the releases of Tab Viewer, I can't remember which release that we added it in, but we added something called a notepad feature, and it's great, and it increases the end user's productivity. It's great for form filling, for education, at work, at home. It is great for school assignments if you're needing to fill something in and then save it and send it to your instructor, or maybe you're collaborating with a group, so you need to send it to a group of people. So you can collaborate on any digital project. When you go to email it to them, you can save it as a PDF or a PNG, which is an image file. So whichever is better for you. And I'll show you a little bit more about that later. It's also great for working on team projects at the office. So it's an amazing tool that allows you to use a highlighter, a typing tool, or a pen to be able to write on the actual form. You can use a stylus, but I even use my finger at times, and that works as well. And then again, once you've got it all filled out, or once you've got it all highlighted, whatever that is that you're using it for, you then save it out, and you can save it as a PDF or PNG file. Here's some highlights of the tab and the tab 2. It is an all-in-one unit. So you've got a computer, Windows 10 or 11. It's, again, you can put whatever operating system is best for you. We ship with Windows 10, but it's a full-blown computer. So you can add any other assistive technology. Do you want to put Fusion on it? Do you want to put JAWS on it? Do you want to put Supernova? Do you want to plug in a Braille printer? You just need to think anything that you can do with your Windows-based computer, you're going to be able to do with this. So it is a full-blown computer. It's also a video magnifier. Some people still refer to them as CCTVs, same thing. And it also has built-in text-to-speech. So you can hit a button, it's going to take a picture of the document and come and read it to you. So everything at your fingertips. And we ship with the keyboard. So you have a keyboard that's ready to go. You could do a Bluetooth mouse if you chose to do that as well. And then we even have a small XY table that I'll show you in a little bit when I'm showing you the tablets live. So you can literally have everything in this amazing case and carry it with you. And the whole system together is less than 9 pounds. I mentioned that we do ship with a Bluetooth large print keyboard. The one we ship with is white on black. We do offer black on yellow for people that just want to purchase keyboards. And you can get these keyboards. You don't have to use it with just our tablet product. You could use it with any Windows-based product. Now, when we ship the tabs, they're already paired and ready to go with the keyboard. We actually do that. So you don't have to go and set up the Bluetooth or any of that once you get it. We've already set that up. The keyboards come with a 1-year manufacturer warranty, and they also come with the 2 AAA batteries to make the keyboard work out of the box. A lot of people have been asking about pricing for the Tab 2, which again, the Tab 2 is the Surface Pro 8. So again, with the Tab and the Tab 2, we have several different variations. We have an i5 version, and we also have an i7 version. So it's not just that the processor is faster and better in the i7, but the i7 comes with more memory. So the i5 is 8 GB of memory, and the i7 is 16 GB of memory. Whether you buy the i5 or the i7, you do still get the wonderful carrying case that I mentioned. You're also going to get the keyboard that's paired to your actual Surface Pro tablet. So let's talk about the pricing, first of all, for the i5. So, well, let me jump down again. I forgot the third one. The third one is we actually sell the tab without the tab. We give you the stand, we give you the software, we give you the distance camera. And with the software, we give you a link. And then you just go down and install the software on your own Surface Pro. If you do have a Surface Pro, you're going to need to have at least a Surface Pro 5, 6, 7, or 8. So the size of the 5, 6, and 7 are the same. And again, we sell the stand, we sell the distance camera, and then we have you provide you the link for the software. When we're just selling the stand, we don't provide the keyboard. We figure that if somebody's buying their own computer, they probably already have a keyboard, and so we don't provide that. So the pricing for the stand for the Surface Pro 7 model is $3,695. And I think I told you Surface Pro 7, and I meant to say Surface Pro 8. I apologize. So all the pricing I'm going over right now is Tab 2, and that's all for Surface Pro 8. So the Surface Pro 8 stand, camera, and activation code for the software is $3,695. Then if you wanted to go with the i5 version, which again has 8 GB of memory, it's $4,895. And then if you wanted to go with the i7, which is 16 GB of memory, the price is $5,895. A lot of the reasons people would use the i7 would be if you're putting something that requires a lot of resource. So certain assistive technology recommends that you have more than 8 GB of memory. And so you just want to look at what you're using it for. And if you need something more powerful with more memory, you're going to want to go with the i7. And again, the pricing on that is $5,895. Now we're aware that there's people that have our Surface Pro 7. They might even have our Surface Pro 6, depending on when they bought it. But again, the stand size was the same because it's 12.3 inches. And they might say, my goodness, I don't want to buy another distance camera or get the stand. I just don't need all of that, but I want to upgrade to the Surface Pro 8. Well, we don't just sell Surface Pro 8s ourselves, but of course you can get those online, or Best Buy probably has them. But I'm sure you can get them online or anywhere that you want to look. But if you already have the stand from the Surface Pro 7 one, we do have some adapter kits. The first kit is we actually would send you the pieces to extend out your stand because it needs to go from 12.3 to 13 to fit the actual Surface Pro 8. So you also would give you a video of how to do that because these stands do come apart. But the other thing is when you plug the camera in, you're plugging into a USB-C where before you were plugging into a USB-A. So we would need to give you an adapter to change the end of the camera from an A to go into a C, which is important. And the pricing for that's $149. And then we would ship you the parts to extend your tablet stand out. We also would ship you the adapter and then provide you with instructions. Now, if you didn't want to do it yourself and you wanted to send it in, that's another option. We have an option for that as well. And when you do that, you would end up, you won't need to send everything in. You would just send in the camera and the stand. So, well, I guess that is everything because you obviously the power supply. I was thinking there was something you could leave out, but I'm wrong on that. So you would need to send everything. So with this one, since you're sending it to us, we offer one-way shipping. So you would pay to send it to us. We would pay to send it back to you. But what we would be doing to your tab device, I guess the part you wouldn't need to send in would be the Surface because unless you'd gotten your Surface Pro 8 and you wanted us to test it with it, but everything's gonna work fine. But don't send us the Surface Pro 7 because that's not even what you're gonna be using anymore. So you would send it in. You can contact me if you want to do that. I can provide you information, or if you just go to our website under support, Lou Ulrich is our technical support manager, and the address is there to ship it. He's in Massachusetts. But the difference for sending it in and having Lou do it for you is, of course, you're not taking the stand apart and making it larger and doing all of that. But the other benefit of it is he actually, instead of using an adapter, he takes the cabling off the camera and gives you brand new cabling that would plug directly into a USB-C. So that's the benefit of that. And the cost for that is $599. So I wanted to do some tab comparison pricing because there is a difference. There's a significant difference between the Surface Pro 7 and the Surface Pro 8. Of course, it's brand new from Microsoft, so we're paying a lot more for those tablets as well. You need to realize that if you're using it with our software, you're getting the exact same software on the 7 and the 8. And of course, you're using it with our software for the editing and the viewing. But what I want to say is, again, it's the same software. Everything's very, very similar. The big differences are the 13-inch screen. You also have the ability to plug into USB-C. So it's just a different type of connector. And you have, I'm trying to think, there was one more thing I was going to bring up. I'll think about it in a little bit because I'm drawing a blank right now. So let's talk about the difference in the pricing between the 7 and the 8. Now, first of all, I want to say we have Surface Pro 7s in stock. We knew that people might not want to go ahead and get the latest and greatest because they wanted to stick with the other product. It saves them money and it's an amazing product. So we do still have both the i5 and the i7 in stock. In fact, we were able to get a chunk of i5s and we were able to get those purchased. We just wanted to make sure we had enough in stock because we realized not everybody's going to jump over to the Surface Pro 8, and we're going to be selling Surface Pro 7s probably at least for the next 90 days or maybe even 180 days, just depending on how long our stock lasts and just how fast people want to move to the Surface Pro 8. But eventually we won't be able to get the 7s and all we'll offer is the 8. But for the interim, I just want you to know we have plenty of Surface Pro 7s. We have them in stock. It's a great product. It's what I use for demo purposes. Today I have both of them so you can see both, but I've been using it for the last couple of years and it's an amazing product. Okay, so let's start with, I've got a chart and the first column has the items, so what it is that you're looking at. The second one has the MSRP pricing, and then the third column over has the next product because we're going to do a direct comparison, Surface Pro 8, Surface Pro 7, then the MSRP and what the difference is. So we're going to start out with the i5. So on the i5, if you've got the Surface Pro 8 i5, again, 8 GB of memory, the pricing, as we saw on the other screen, is $4,895 versus the Surface Pro 7 Plus, the price is $4,495. So you're still getting an i5, you're still getting 8 GB of memory, you're getting our software, our latest technology, camera, everything. It's just you're using a Surface Pro 7 versus an 8, and you would save yourself $400. So that's a significant savings. The second one down, that's on line number 3 on the chart, we talk about the i7. So the i7 for the Surface Pro 8, 16 GB of memory is $5,895. And then if you're using the Surface Pro 7 Plus i7, the price is $5,315. So you're looking at a price difference of $580, which again, is a big chunk of change. Then we come down to the stand, because again, you can still buy just the stand for the Surface Pro 7s because they're still out on the market and people are still buying them. The reason we sell just the stand is because some schools and some public offices, they can't buy computers from people. They're on a contract. They can only buy them from a certain source. So that's why people prefer to do that. And they get their own surfaces, whether it's a 7 or an 8 or a 6, depending on when they bought it. And then again, we give you the link for the software. So the stand and distance camera, again, you're not getting the keyboard when you buy just the stand, is $3,695 for the Surface Pro 8. And for the Surface Pro 7 Plus, it's $3,545. So it's $150. So this just provides you the price of the 8, the price of the 7, some of the differences, and it just gives you something to think about. And if you have more questions, you know, hey, this is what I'm using it for, which one's better, that type of thing, feel free to reach out to me and I will provide my phone number and contact information at the end. All right, we're going to come back. So I'm going to stop at that screen. We're going to go, I'm going to show you the 7 and the 8 live next to each other. I'll show it to you with our software first, where you can see that seeing them side by side, they look very similar. You're still getting a great image with both of them. And then I'm going to actually go to the desktop. And at that point, when we go to the desktop, you'll be able to see the size of the bezel difference, where you can see one is 13 and one is 12.3. So give me a second here and we will go live with the actual product. Okay, we're back. Now you're able to see the Surface Pro 7 and the Surface Pro 8 side by side. They're very similar. If you're looking and you're saying, wow, I don't really see a difference, there isn't a significant difference in the look of them at all. Our stand is the same stand. We had to make a little adjustment on the one for the Surface Pro 8 because of how the bezeling is around the actual Surface Pro to be able to hold it and secure it tightly, but really they look the same. In a second, I'll pull up our software and you'll be able to see, my goodness, they look almost exactly identical. So first of all, my hand right here, I want to kind of clarify. So how I'm seeing it is it's the one on the left. So that is the Surface Pro 8 model. And I do want to talk about a couple differences. As you see, the bezel, which is kind of like the picture frame around where the desktop is or around your document, it's very narrow. And that is how they came out with a 13-inch screen, is because they're going more edge to edge. So it's not like, again, that they added a whole nother inch to it. That would have made it a little awkward and a little bit clumsy. So really it's the bezel. You'll notice on the one that's the Surface Pro 7, which is the one to the right of that, that there's a large bezel around it. It's like a bigger picture frame, and that's what makes it 12.3. Now, I tried earlier to put a ruler and things up, and it's just, I didn't have anything that's, big enough print for you to be able to see it on the camera. But if you have a camera, if you have a ruler and you already have a Surface Pro 7, you're just gonna go diagonally, edge to edge, or diagonally, I should say, across where the actual text is, not on the physical size of the surface, but where the text is on there. And you'll see that it's a 12.3-inch screen. And on the Surface Pro 8, because of the bezel and because of being a little bit larger, it is 13. So some of the other significant differences that I want to draw to your attention is when you've been turning on the Surface Pro 7 on our unit, you've been reaching to the bottom and holding a button in to turn it on or off. The one with the Surface Pro 8 is not at the bottom. It's actually at the side. I need to make it not go to sleep, but it is actually at the side. So if I'm standing in front of it, it would be on the left-hand side and it's on the bottom corner. So that is where you turn it on and turn it off. And I know you're not going to be able to see this clearly, so I'm just going to give you a verbal, but if you come up with your finger going on the same side, which is the left side, you come to your first USB-C Thunderbolt port. I'm actually pushing my finger in there so you can see physically where it's located if you're able to see my finger. If I come up another one, that is the second USB-C Thunderbolt port. Then if I come straight up, this is where I'm going to actually plug it in for power. It's the same type of power. It's that magnetic that just magnetizes right to it. So nothing has changed with that. So that is the Surface Pro 8, again, 13-inch screen with the smaller bezel. So if I want to actually shut it down, I'm just going to hold in on that button that I was talking about and then just slide it down. Once I do that, it's going to turn off. Now let's go over to the one that's the Surface Pro 7 that some of you have been using for a while. Again, even when they're turned off, they look very similar because our stand is still the same great stand. You still put the camera in the back, just like the other one. You're just getting a larger viewing area because of the bezel and it being a little bit bigger. It is a little bit heavier. I didn't mention that, but it is, I think it's 2 ounces that it weighs more. And we do have some more specifics on our website. There was different charts and I couldn't pull all that into the PowerPoint because we would be here all day, but I'll give you links to be able to go to that in just a little bit. So now let's talk about the Surface Pro 7. You're pretty familiar with it. We've been using it for a while, those of you that have it. So if I wanted to go to our software, again, I have it running. So I've got a couple things open here. There's our software. And with the other one, if I want to go back to our software so you can see them side by side, I'll turn it back on. And then you're able to do a direct comparison, how the screen looks and all of that. And let me launch our software. And let me go ahead and do an OCR and take a quick picture of that image. and then it can come and start reading to us.
MagniLink TAB 2.0 highlights of MagniLink TAB Z.05// in worksheets and forms using the Surface Pen.
Okay, I'm going to pause it right there.
And thickness of the high/I and pen.
Let me.
Sim/even and.
Okay, I'm going to stop it right there. All right, now you can see them side by side. And again, they almost look like you're seeing double or you're having twins because they look so much alike. So I wanted people to see that because a lot of people are like, oh, it's a Surface Pro 8 and it's so different and it looks different. You know, there are some technical parts of it that are different because they've definitely done some stuff. They say that it's more like a gaming computer, that type of thing. But really physically, looking at them, they both look the same, except one's a little bit larger and has a smaller bezel. And to look at that one more time, we'll just go out to the desktop. And I'll go to the desktop of the other one. The one on the left, Surface Pro 8, very, very small bezel. The one on the right, Surface Pro 7, a bigger bezel. Okay, the next thing that I want to do is actually, some of you that are on here, I noticed are new and you've never seen the Surface Pro in action even. You've never seen our tab. So I don't want to spend a lot of time today because that's not what this is for, but I want to spend about 10 minutes and show you how to actually use the Surface Pro. This doesn't matter if it's the 7 or 8, it's going to show you some features and then we'll come back out, we'll go to the PowerPoint, I'll show you some stuff about our MagniLink S product and we'll close out. So thank you so much. And we're gonna just pause here for a second so I can switch over to the other computer system. Next, I would like to show you the MagniLink TAB in action. This works for the TAB or the TAB 2, so either the Surface Pro 7 or the Surface Pro 8. As I had mentioned before, we utilize this same software. But I realize that there's some of you that have joined us today that have never seen the tab in action. So I want to go ahead and spend a little bit of time just to go over the highlights. So right now we're looking at a document live. You can tell that because my hand is underneath. And now I've removed that. The document that you're seeing has a heading at the top and then 2 columns. And we will figure that out when it does OCR. It will come and figure that out and put it in the proper columns. Down at the bottom, you have 8 different icons, and you can run the entire system through these icons, or you can run it through gestures or the keyboard. There's no right or wrong, and I'll use a combination of them all as I'm showing you the actual product. So the first thing I want to do is jump right into OCR. The 5th button over is OCR, but I'm going to show you the first gesture. If you put your finger on the screen and you let it go, it will do OCR.
Thank you for choosing LBI. You've made a great choice.
I'm going to pause it for just a second. So it's very quick, as you noticed, and it figured out that the top part is an actual heading going from left to right, and it starts to read that. Then it will go to column 1 and column 2. Now there's 7 different ways that you can look at the document after you do the OCR. Right now we're looking at just not the image, but just the wording. We're not looking at the actual picture and the wording, but just the wording of the OCR. And I'm going to change it to the next view. This would be like a ticker tape going across.
Choice. Let us explain why. Development and construction.
And then you have the ability to make it just one word at a time as well.
Construction.
Let me hit the next button to change it. And now you have just one word.
Your new video magnifier is developed with you, as are you.
And then you also have the ability to look at it live and see the actual document that you scanned in. Now, when you do that, I just changed it to full color so you can see the images below, but you're able to see how it outlines and figures out the page for you. So it knows that that's one separate column from the other one. And then it's also highlighting the word that we're on. I'm going to make it a little larger. And I'm changing the size of it with up and down arrow on the keyboard. You could also pinch and zoom because it is a tablet, but I'm just using the keyboard for making that change. So I'm going to change again to another view. So this is a view where you can look at the document above and then a line of text going across.
User and technology in focus by I6 in Sweden.
You also have the ability to touch on the screen, and where you touch, it will start reading from that point. So that is another option that you have when you're in this view where you can actually see the live document, or it's not live, but the picture of the document. And then wherever you touch, it would just start reading from that point forward. Now, how I've been changing the views, so you've gone through the different ones with me, it's just the letter B as in boy, and that changes you between all the different views. I don't expect you to remember any of these keystrokes. We do have hotkey guides that are available for gestures, keystrokes, the icons at the bottom, and then also the editing tool, which I'll show you at the end. So OCR was pretty simple. Put my finger on the screen, it performed OCR. I could have also hit the OCR button, or F4 is the function key for OCR. I'm now going to go back to live view. Two ways to do that. I can hit the first icon, the A in the camera, or I'm going to hit the letter V for view. Now I'm back live. I can tell because I can put my hand underneath. So it's a nice image that it really gives you because you're using our full HD camera. And so I'm up and down arraying to make it larger and smaller. It's a 10x optical zoom camera, full HD. So it is a very, very nice image. And then if I wanted to go to where the text was, I'm going to make it a little smaller so we can see more. So I'm going to hit down arrow. And I want to change the colors of the contrast. I can simply do F2 and F3. And then to change the actual brightness or the contrast levels, you can use your right and left arrow keys. So I'm going to go through some of the color combinations. Now, right now we have all the color combinations turned on, but I'm going to show you how you can customize those and take some of them out as well. If you want to go back to full color, you just hit F1 and you're back to full color. F1 takes you back and forth between full color and grayscale. So if I wanted to now go back to that OCR document again, I could hit V for view, or I could hit the very first icon, which takes us right back. So that, again, takes us back and forth. Now we have three cameras when we're using the Surface. There's two cameras on the Surface itself, an upward facing, a downward facing, and then we also have our distance camera. So in a minute, we're going to use the distance camera, go out and do a recording, and then come in and look at a document underneath the actual Surface camera, so the downward facing camera. I want to talk about the settings for a minute. So right now I have the icons at the bottom. I have them black with bright white, but if I wanted to change that, I can come to the 8th one over. It looks like a gear, and if I touch that, that's going to take me into my settings. Now, the first thing I want to show you is you have the ability to make this whatever size you want. I'm pinching and zooming on the left-hand side, and that gets larger. That does not affect the right-hand side. I can also pinch and zoom and make that large. So they're interdependent of each other. They're not, you make one larger, the other one's large. You can make whatever size you want on each side. I'm going to make the right side smaller for now. We're going to go to, by the way, I did not mention, but this is where you get your version number. So if you're wondering what version you're running, it is 2.1.7.0, which is the latest version. We're going to go into application. When I go into application, again, I can make this larger on the left or the right, but I'm going to make it a little larger over here on the right. When you go into application, the very first thing over says color, and there's a picture of a camera. If I just touch that camera, it opens up a color wheel. Now, once the color wheel is open, I can change it to a different color. Right below the color wheel, there's two slide bars. The top one, if it's all the way to the left, it's always going to be black and you're not going to be able to change it. I may have to go get, no, I was able to do it. Okay, so now what has happened is I took it all the way to the right. So now whatever color I touch on that wheel, it's going to become that color. So now we've selected green, just so we can see. We're going to go all the way back out. So we're going to hit the arrow, the very top one on the left-hand side, or I could hit escape. Either one would work. Okay, so I've chosen bright green with white. Some people might like that, or some people might want to change the actual coloring to be a black, so black with green. So I'm going to go back in. I'm going to say, well, I want that to be black text. So right below the camera, there's 2 radio buttons, and you can pick, do you want white text or black text? So I chose black, and now, voila, everything is that color. And let's say I wanted to choose a different color. I could go back into the camera. I could pick blue. Maybe if I pick blue, I want it to be white text though. And now at the bottom, I have everything blue with white. So there's no right or wrong for the colors. It's just what the person wants to choose. I'm going to go back into the settings because I want to show you a couple other things. When you go on the left-hand side, we had the about where we had the serial number, then we have application. Now we're going to come down to camera. And you have the ability to uncheck some of these. We talked about that a little bit ago. So if I know I'm not going to use black with green or green with black, and the same with black with red and red on black, I'm going to just take them out. So I'm only going to leave white on black, black on white, yellow on black, black on yellow. So now if I go out and we're looking at this and I go ahead and hit my F2 to change my colors, you're now not having all the color choices to go through. So F2 and F3 are changing my wording, and then F2 is changing my background color. But because I took all the other colors out, I'm only filtering between black on yellow, yellow on black, and also white on black and black on white, because I took all of the other colors out. But the incredible thing is, I'm going to go back into the menu, again, the 8th icon over. Every single one of these menus off to the left, they have a default. So you can hit default and all those colors come back. You also can edit colors. So if you don't want a color, let's say you want to keep all those options available, but you don't want green on black, you wanted purple on black. I mean, that would be hard to see, but I'm just wanting you to see that you can hold on any of them and it brings up the color wheel. So you could change the color to any color that you chose to pick at that point. Again, you'd have to bring that little sidebar over because right now it's set directly to black. And there we go. And now I'm changing the color to whatever I want. So it's very simple to customize it for yourself or any individual that you're working with. The other thing over on the left-hand side is you have speech. Within speech, this is where you pick your voice. Right now it's set for Microsoft David. And you also can change the volume and the speaking speed in here, but it's much faster just to do it with the keyboard hotkeys. So I'll tell you that in a second. And then the shortcuts are here. The great thing is I can send you the shortcuts, but they're all built in and you pinch and zoom and find the right size for you. And now you can see them very, very easily. Within the shortcuts, you do have the ability to take any shortcut out or change it to something else. And now we're going to go to gestures, which is the bottom one. And with the gestures, you can uncheck a gesture if you don't want it, but you can't change, like I want magnification to be something other than pinch. You either turn it on or turn it off with the gestures. Okay, I'm going to go out of here again. I could hit escape or I can hit the top on the left-hand side. There's an arrow. I just touched that and that brought me out. I'm going to come back to full color. All right, we're going to talk about doing some recording. So right now, I want to take it and do a recording, and we're going to say, I have a picture across the room on my wall. We're going to point to that, and then we're going to pretend like somebody's up giving a demonstration about this tree that is up on this particular picture that I have. So I'm going to take the distance camera, and I'm going to angle out, first of all, and I'm going to shrink it down so we can get a better view. Okay, so we're going to pretend someone's over there, they're doing a presentation, and they're talking about that particular type of tree and the leaves that are on it. So in order to do a recording, if you're using the icons at the bottom, you want to go to the one that's the picture of a camera and a video camera. And if you touch that, it opens up another menu. And within that menu, you have freeze, you have open prior recording that you did, open a document that you've done, or do you want to record now or take a picture? Right now we want to record, so we're just going to hit the record button. We're going to give it today's date and time, so I'm just going to hit enter. Now when I do that, the recording happens, and up in the upper right-hand corner, you actually have a bracket and a circle. that's red, if you're able to see that and see colors, it's similar to what you would see on, like if you were using your phone to record or even a video camera, they always usually have that type of circle with brackets around it to let you know something's recording. So everything I'm saying right now is being recorded by that camera. But now we're going to say that they come and they give you a handout. And within that handout, you say, oh my goodness, I can't see this because they didn't make it large print. Well, you can use your other camera. Remember, you have two other cameras. You have an upward facing and a downward facing camera on the tab. So we haven't done this yet, but to switch between cameras, you can use the second icon over, which says as a picture of a camera and then a crooked arrow and a camera, or you can hit F7. When you do that, it automatically goes to the downward camera that I'm actually looking at right now. So I'm going to go ahead and I hit up arrow to make it a little larger, but this would be the handout that you were looking at. Whatever they give you, you can make it whatever size you want and whatever color you want. So I'm going to come down to where there's just words and not so much pictures. So if I wanted to change the color, I can go back to my F2 and F3, and I have the ability to make that darker to where I can see the coloring better, and I can even make it larger. So up and down arrow, make it larger, or pinch and zoom, and left and right, change your contrast. So it's still recording. Nothing has stopped with that. So now we can just switch back to that camera by either hitting F7 or the second icon over. And now we go back to the recording and we want to stop it. So we're going to go to the sixth icon over and go in and say, I want to stop the recording. At that point, we want to stop the recording. So we just hit the recorder, which is the fourth icon over, and it immediately stops. And it saves that. So that's really nice because it's something we can open at any time. Now, I can either keep using the downward facing camera, or I could say, I want to go back to that camera, but I don't want it to be across the room anymore. I want it to actually be down on my document. So now I've got our distance camera and it's right back down on the document. Now, the first thing you see on there, it's a picture of like a snowflake in this menu. This is a pop-up menu from the record picture taking icon at the bottom. If I touch that freeze and now I move this document, it's fine because I've frozen it. I have the ability to move the camera somewhere else. I can do whatever else that I want to do, but this is frozen, even though I actually took the document out. So if I unfreeze it, now you're looking at my table because I moved the document. So that's what freeze does. Okay, the next thing I want to do is actually take you in and show you how you can fill out a form. So let me grab a form that I think will be best. Okay, we're going to pretend I'm a teacher and I'm in the classroom and I have a test that I want someone to take. So I'm going to go and move the picture that I had before, and we're going to come and put a test underneath it. Now, I want to teach you something new. Your menu system at the bottom takes up some real estate. So if you're like, I can't really see where to put this, you can turn that menu system to kind of go away by double tapping on the screen. And now I can see, oh, I can move this down. And let me shrink it. I want to get more of the image. Because if you're scanning in a full page document, you need to have the full page in view in order for you to get the entire thing working. Now, there's two ways to bring that menu system back up. I could double tap anywhere on the screen, or there's a slight arrow that's down in the middle. But if you can't see that, not a problem, just double tap. And now our interface came right back up. We're going to go to the camera and the video camera. We were just there a minute ago for doing video recording and freezing a document. And the very last icon on the right shows a picture of a pen and a rectangle. And that's really our editing note tool. So I'm going to take 2 fingers to go in there, and it will take an actual picture of the document. Now, I took it landscape, so it's going to come in landscape. So I just have to rotate it with Control-Shift-R. probably should have done Control R, but I did Control Shift R. So we have the document here, and I'm going to make it bigger because it'll be easier for me to see. So now I'm going to go into the magnifier at the top, which will allow me to make this larger. Now you have an area off to the left-hand side. That is where you can have all your open documents. So I could open another document and then I could just click on that if I had several documents open. You do have the ability to make that smaller if you don't want it so large. I'm going to keep it there because we're going to end up having this file and another file, and I'm going to show you how to go back and forth. So we have the test up here. And the first thing on the test, first of all, I can make it, of course, whatever size that I want by pinching and zooming. So we can see that that's where we should put our name. So I can go to the pin, which is at the top, and I can say, I want to handwrite my name. I didn't grab my stylus, so I'm just using my finger. And now I say, ooh, I didn't do a very good job. So I can go to the eraser. Once I go to the eraser, I can erase anything that I touch. And then if I want to go back to the pen, let me show you a couple options with the pen. If you touch it again, it opens up the colors and the size scroll bar. So I can make it thicker like a 2020 pen, or I can even make it thinner, more like a fine tip pen. And now we're going to go and I'm going to write my name. I'm going to do a little better job. Okay, so if I like that, great. If I didn't, I could erase it. I can do whatever I want to do there. So the next thing I want to talk to you about is the typing tool. So at the top of this particular document, excuse me, the bar at the top, there's a 2 letter A's, and that's where you go in if you want to type. So if I touch that once, that's fine. But if I touch it again, it's going to bring up, do I want the sans serif font? Do I want the typing tool to be bigger? Do I want my typing to be a different color? We're going to stick with sans serif, and we're going to stick with that font size as well. So I'm going to touch anywhere on the screen. And when I do that, it brings up an edit box. And you'll notice that the on-screen keyboard comes up because it knows you want to type. I'm going to close that because I'm going to use our keyboard that we ship with. So the first thing says Catherine loves, and I'm going to put the word to because she loves to see new LVI products. And you might say, well, Kimberly, you got the 2 way away from where it should go. The cool thing is I can touch on the screen and I can grab that and put it wherever I want. So I can move it a little bit more. So I always tell people you don't need, with the typing tool, you don't need to get in that tiny little area. You probably want to get in a big open area where you can see what you're doing and then go in and type and then move it over. So we're still in the typing tool, so I just have to touch the screen in the blank area. And now the next one says, Elisa loves the beautiful scenery in Utah. We're going to pretend that's what she would say here. So we're going to go with the word loves. I'm going to grab it, and then I have the ability to do that. So that's the typing tool. You can type anywhere and then move it anywhere on the screen. You can change the size or the color. All right. So the next thing I want to teach you is the highlighting tool. So the highlighting tool would come in handy if you're studying for a test or you're part of a group assignment and you want to say, you know, Kimberly, your area is the part I colored in yellow, and then Lisa, yours is in a green, and Catherine, yours is in purple, and you have the ability to highlight it. So I'm going to go into the highlighter, which is got the typing tool we've been typing with, 2 icons to the left, excuse me, 1 icon to the left is the highlighter. And we've made it yellow, so we'll highlight the first one in yellow. So now we have that highlighted in yellow, and it looks really good. And we're going to touch the highlighter. Now, Elisa, we're going to have hers be green. So we pick green for her. And then if we wanted to go back and make Catherine's next one yellow, we can do that very simply. Whoops, I didn't change it. So I'm going to undo. So there's an undo and a redo up here as well. So I'm going to touch the highlighter and touch yellow. And now we can highlight the Catherine one in yellow. And if we wanted to do the Kimberly one, I'm going up to the highlighter each time. And then we're going to make Kimberly's purple. And then we highlight that one in purple. So it's really cool because you have that ability to highlight, to type, and you also have the ability to handwrite. So we're going to go down further in the document. The nice thing about this document being to the left as well is it kind of gives you some context where you're at in the document. So maybe you can't see that super well over on the left, but you can tell that there's more text to fill out because there is a bigger document there. So we're going to go down to where we have check marks, and it says to check the boxes how much you like something within this company. So we're going to go to the pen, and for IKEA, I love it. So it's going to get a 4. Volvo's just okay, to 2. Spotify, we're going to give a 1, and H&M a 2. So you can see you can fill out anything very easily on the actual document. So whether this is for personal, maybe you're filling out a doctor form, or if it's for school, you're doing an assignment, or you're collabing and working on a group paper. For work, same type of thing. There's all kinds of documents you have to fill out at work, or if you're working on a group project. So we're going to save this. I'm going to come up to the actual save, which looks like a picture of an actual floppy. And now when you go to save it, you can save it as a PDF, or you can drop the list, and you can also save it as an image file. Now you might say, gosh, Kimberly, when I go to open or save, it's kind of small. You need to realize we're relying on Microsoft at that point. So we're kind of out of our software and we're going to Microsoft. So you could launch Magnifier really quickly. You could launch NVDA. You could launch Narrator, Zoom Text, anything that you're using, Supernova, if you needed to see that quickly. So that is an option to do that. So we're going to go ahead and we're going to save it as a PDF. So I'm going to pick Save. And now it says it saved it. Now, I can scan another one in, but we don't have a lot of time. So now we're just going to go to open. So when I go to open it, first of all, I didn't check to see. I'm not sure where they've got them going. I should have checked that first. Let me go back out and act as if I'm going to save this. So it's saving them under video. So here is the one that I just saved. So you can change where you want it to save. And that's why I was a little confused, because this is my brand new one and I haven't set it up yet. So I'm going to go in here to documents and excuse me, I'm going to pick videos. And then here's the one that I just did. So it's today's date and time, and I'm going to open it. So now if we scroll down, we have 2 of them open. So you normally wouldn't have the same document, but I wanted you to see that the area on the left allows you to keep all your files up there. So if you're wanting to jump from file to file, you have the ability to do that. So that's our typing tool, and that's our notes, and it's very, very powerful. And we have a separate hotkey guide just for that. Okay, we are now going to, I'm going to turn on narrator just so you can hear the improvements that we've made, that all the icons at the bottom, all the buttons actually talk to you when you're using narrator. Sorry, I parked on the button. That's why it made it larger really quick. So to turn on narrator, it's Control, Windows, Enter.
MagniLink narrator dialog.
And now I'm going to just
MagniLink tab window
over.
Button.
Okay, once I do that,
take picture or record video.
Button. Now, whatever
double
icon
tap to activate
that I touch on the bottom, it tells me what the icon is, and then it says to double tap to activate it. So it's very similar to an iPad. You know, you touch something once, it tells you what it is, and if you double tap it, then it's going to come and activate it. So we're going to start at the left.
Switch to OCR view button. Double tap to activate.
So that first button, as I mentioned, is an A and a camera. That switches you to OCR view. So you can go back and forth using that as well. And the next one over.
Switch camera button. Double tap to activate.
Okay, then we talked about that one.
Zoom in button. Double tap to activate.
So basically, if your vision is that you're not able to see these buttons, you can turn on narrator and touch any of them. It's going to tell you what they do. If you're trying to figure out how wide they are or how big they are, you can just put your finger on one of them and then scroll over.
Zoom, start OCR Take picture or record
and you'll
video.
have an idea, oh,
Button.
you know, I moved
Double
over.
tap to activate.
This is probably about 3/4 of an inch. So you can kind of get a feel of the size of it. So we do work very well in narrator. So I'm going to double tap here. And that brings a pop-up menu. Now, if for some reason it doesn't go up to the pop-up menu,
video settings,
you do have
button.
the ability
Settings
to
button.
go in and touch
Pop-up
that,
window.
and it's going to now tell you the
picture
pop-up menu
button.
And you can
double tap
also,
to
somebody asked me earlier, how do I go from those icons to icons? Am I touching them or tabbing? So I'm going to tab now.
Record video button. Take picture button.
So tabbing takes you to the right, and shift tabbing will take
record
you
video
to the left.
But open picture button.
So we do use the standard commands in what you're used to using with the screen reader. Tab's going to take you forward through choices. Shift tab's going to take you backwards. So this is just a small sampling of being able to use it with a screen reader. We do have several resellers that show this product off all the time, and they have no vision. They're totally blind, and they will show it with a screen reader because that's what they use, and it works really well, and they've been able to show it off very effectively. So we're really thrilled with all the changes that they've made, that we now support screen readers, which is really, really important. All right, I'm going to turn off narrator with Control, Windows, Enter.
Exiting narrator.
And we're back. So now if I just go through the buttons or make any changes, that's what you're going to see at that point. All right, I'm just going to go back to the document. So that is, there's more, but you know, we've got to move on. So this is all I'm going to show you about the tab right now. All of these wonderful features work for tab or tab 2. The software is called Tab Viewer, and the latest version of it, I'm going to go back into the application, and then the about is 2.1.7.0. All right, now we're going to go back to the PowerPoint and finish up the presentation. Okay, we're back. I decided to come back and go over the tab comparison pricing because people had some question about pricing. So we're going to start at the very top of the chart. The first 2 rows that we're going to talk about are the complete Surface Pro tablet, and you're getting our distance camera, of course, tab viewer software, and the keyboard. So they're complete systems. And then the very bottom one we're going to talk about is just the stand. So we'll start with the Surface Pro 8 i5. You get 8 GB of RAM, and the retail price on that is $4,895. Then we're going to go to the Surface Pro 7 Plus. Same thing, it's i5, 8 GB of memory, the actual stand, the computer, distance camera, and keyboard, and it's $4,495. So the difference in the price from the 7 Plus to the 8 is $400. The next thing we're going to talk about is the i7. The benefit of getting the i7, whether you go Surface Pro 7 Plus or 8, is you're getting 16 GB of memory versus 8. Of course, it's a faster processor as well. So if you're using something that requires a lot of resources, you definitely want to go with the i7. The Surface Pro 8 model is $5,895. And the 7 Plus model, Surface Pro 7 Plus, is $5,315. So there's a difference in price of $580. And then the last one at the bottom is just everything except the tablet and the keyboard. So you're getting the stand, you're getting the distance camera, and you'll get a link to the software. And then you're getting your own Surface Pro, and you're getting your own keyboard. You're going to purchase that separately. So for the Surface Pro 8, for the stand, camera, and software, it's $3,695, and the Surface Pro 7 Plus is $3,545. So it's a $150 difference. We ran out of time today, but I just want to quickly talk about our MLS, because a lot of people on here have used it, and then there's people that just a tablet isn't for them. Maybe they prefer to use their own PC, their own Mac, or their own Chromebook. So we have a product called the MLS, and you plug it into your computer, and then it turns it into exactly kind of what you saw today on the tablet. Instead of being Tab Viewer, we have PC Viewer, Mac Viewer, and Chrome Viewer, and they work with whatever platform you choose. But you can still do OCR, you can still change the viewing, you can fill out forms. In fact, we came and backfilled our softwares for that because it was such a popular thing when we filled out, or when we created that in the tab for the form filling. So it's an incredible product. This is our most lightweight, most portable. That's why I put total portability, and it's 4.2 pounds. Again, compatible with PC, Mac, or Chrome. These are some of the docking stations that you can use with the MagniLink S. The one pictured on the left is the clamp, the table clamp style, because the camera can move all the way left to right. And the next one in the middle is the plate one, and then the one at the far right-hand corner is the XY table. So this is a really neat thing with this particular product because it has docking stations that you can use. You can even hook this up to just a monitor as well. So if you're in a situation where you carry this with you to work or school and for home, and all of a sudden you need to be able to see something across the room, you don't have your computer, or you prefer just to plug into a TV or something large, you can utilize this particular device for that. It plugs right into a monitor. We now have tables available as well. This is brand new for us, and I wanted to kind of feature that here. It's an actual bonus table. We call it bonus information because it's kind of cool. We're really excited to have this type of table. And the neat thing about it is so many people are already purchasing our MagniLink ones, our Visions, our Zips, and things like that. And they're looking to have a nice sturdy table that has roller wheels. And also if someone's in a wheelchair, they can roll right up to it. So the retail price on it is $395. And it's very well designed. It's perfect for the video magnifiers. It rolls on the 4 sturdy rails that are also lockable. There's plenty of room for the largest video magnifier, which would be our Vision, but it works as well with any of the Zip, the One, or any of them. And the table that slides out, you can either slide it to the left or to the right. It goes all the way through the table, so you can go either way with it. So if you're wanting to put a notebook also, or your laptop or your phone or anything else, you've got that table. The tabletop is 24 by 24, and the smaller slider is 11 by 16, and you can adjust the height from 22 inches to 31. And that's what the actual table looks like, that picture that we have on this page. So we've answered questions throughout. Thank you so much for all your great questions. And I know that you're excited to get going with either of our tab products, and we're always here to provide you assistance as well. I wanted to let you know that if you have ideas for any of our products and you would want different things and different features, we have something called feedback, and it's feedback@lviamerica.com. And the neat thing about that is when you write in, you're going to get not acknowledge that you've done that. But if we get a lot of the same suggestions, 15, 20 people want a certain feature, we're really going to look at that and determine if that's something that we can add in one of our future releases. We go through all of our products yearly, and we're always making updates. We do have monthly webinars. We are taking a break for the summer, but keep looking at www.lviamerica.com/webinar, because once we decide what we're going to put up for September with dates and what we're featuring, that's where you'll see that information, and you can register online. If you would like to reach out to us, I did give you some live links, and you will get this PowerPoint for attending. And the first one is our webpage. So that has information about all of our products. And it also has information for signing up for our webinars, and even some different newsletters and things that we've put out there, past news and that type of information. And it's www.lviamerica.com. If you're wanting more detailed information from us, if you scroll down on any of the pages on our website, there's something that says that you want to actually get our newsletter. All you need to do is put your email address in there, and then it'll send you an email to confirm that you want to start getting the newsletters. And then you just respond back to that and you're ready to go. The next two links I provided, one is for the tab to get more information on the tab. And we do have an actual chart on our website that gives you even more information versus the tab 2. It's down at the bottom of the MagniLink tab area on our website. And then the bottom one is for the MagniLink S, which is the last product that I spoke about. Again, sign up for our monthly newsletter that I talked about, and it gives you information about new product releases that we have or product updates. Our contact information is as follows. As I mentioned in the beginning, Christopher Caswell, he is from our Swedish office and he lives in Sweden, but he does come to America. But if you were wanting to reach out to him for any reason, his email is Christopher, CHRISTOFER, .Caswell, CASSWALL, @lvi.se. I'm Kimberly Klein, and my contact information is kimberly.klein@lviamerica.com. And you can either call or text me at 702-468-6611. And then we also have Catherine Gettel, and it's Catherine.Gettel, GETTEL, @lviamerica.com. And that's 802-236-4404. And then we have Elisa Olenek as well, and it's Elisa, ALIZA.Olenek, OLENICK, @lviamerica.com. And her phone number is 612-940-9037. So thank you very much for joining us today. And if you have questions about anything, feel free to reach out to us. We're here to help you. And I hope you all have a great day.